I'm Diane Ryan, and I cover everything from chemical spills to bears up a tree in someone's backyard.
I think they're pointing the finger at the wrong place. It is not the Reagan Economic Recovery Program that's at fault.
From those who affect the news to those who are affected by the news, I'm on the story. What are you going to have to do without because you didn't get your paycheck?
Gas. My children have dentist appointments, doctor's appointments.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that your electric bill will be going down any. Like you can ride a camel or an elephant, like I'm doing here with my friend Brian.
Ryan, you got the kind of food that I like.
Absolutely. Because you did such a great job predicting the weather and gave us such a beautiful weekend, there's a hamburger. And Dean, I haven't forgotten you or John. I'm cooking hamburgers for both of you. You'll get them when we come back.
Moran wants a hot dog because that's what...
But I'm also a co-anchor who sometimes has to go it alone. Good evening. Dean has the night off. I'm Diane Ryan. And coming up on Eyewitness News, an acid spill in Sunbury. But topping the news at this hour, President Reagan says he will cut your income taxes 25%. But with a little help from his foes.
News, the White House.
Election day is June 30th in Israel, and the latest poll shows Prime Minister Begin is in the lead, with opposition leader Shimon Peres close behind. Now, with that in mind, Egyptian President Anwar Sadat will meet with Peres later this week and is talking with Begin tonight.
In reporting.
Now, it's one thing to cheat on your golf game, but cheating on your country club, well, that's quite another. 35-year-old Doris Powers of Williamsport is under arrest. Police say she took $28,000 from the Williamsport Country Club while working there as a bookkeeper. A firebug in Hughesville has caused more than a few sleepless nights for people in that town. But Rick Mason reports you can rest easier now.
State Hughesville.
A lightning-fast thunderstorm whipped through the Pocono Northeast tonight, disrupting phone service and playing havoc with drivers. In just one accident during that storm, a woman and her child were injured as two cars collided in North End Wilkes-Barre. The latest word, however, is that both are doing all right. A history of bad accidents on Route 209 through the Poconos are being blamed on heavy trucks. Well, those trucks are being banned from the highway, and Jerry Baum has an update. Still to come on Eyewitness News, PP&L spills acid in Sunbury, and the river is the only drain. Can you spell sarcophagus? It's a tough one, even for national spelling champions. Habla español? Can you speak Spanish? Maybe not, but you can now watch Spanish TV. Stay with us. I know it's hard to quit smoking, even though you know it's not good for you, and more studies are showing just how dangerous the habit is. And Kathy Baczynski has the latest.
This is Newsstand on...
Acid is leaking into the ground near Sunbury. The PP&L power plant lost 150,000 gallons of acid waste over the weekend. The Susquehanna is only 200 feet away, but there is no evidence that that acid is leaking into the river. State investigators on the scene are trying to determine whether there is any damage because of the acid leak. For you miners on pensions, good news. You're going to get your June checks, and the United Mine Workers Union says the strike will not force you to go without your money. But that cash, however, is coming from the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation in Washington. It was pomp and circumstance today at the Kirby Health Center, and these are the proud graduates. 8 handicapped youngsters finished the preschool program of the Wyoming Valley Crippled Children's Society. More good news for those kids. The society raised $40,000 so far in its Easter Seals campaign. And that is good news, and I hope you have good news about the weekend's weather.
I think so. Remember we were talking about how great Saturday was going to be and how questionable Sunday was going to be?
Right.
Well, now it's the other way around. We'll have the AccuWeather forecast after this. By the way, Diane is the MC for the Miss Unico pageant on Public Square Saturday afternoon. I'm going to guarantee you good weather for that.
Just no rain.
Okay.
Now, most of us don't even know what sarcophagus means, let alone spell it. Well, it's a stone coffin, sometimes with inscriptions on it, and oftentimes used as a monument. And 13-year-old Paige Pipkin of El Paso, Texas, is going to spell it for you. For that feat, Paige was handed the Winner's Cup in the National Spelling Bee Contest in Washington. Next, it's S-P-O-R-T-S with John Moran. Stay with us. Well, the rain sure put a damper on sports in our area tonight.
Yeah, it certainly did. It'll make it a much more exciting day than Mildred.
And who actually won the Peacocks play today? So we've got to know who won.
The Peacocks did not win. They lost to Exeter 16-14.
Oh, they're not going to have too many feathers left. Okay, NBC, CBS, ABC, move over. There's a new kid on the block, and he's getting his act together and taking it to the airwaves.
Washington.
Tom Bigler's editorial tonight is concerned with the self-fulfilling prophecies of Interior Secretary James Watt. Grazing in the grass is a gas, at least for George the Bull. He's one of the most contented steers you'll ever find. Now, George was acting awfully darn strange last weekend, according to his owner, a Salem, Illinois farmer. The 1,200-pound bull was prancing around, sticking his tongue out and bellowing like a darn mule. So the farmer took a closer look and found that George had been nibbling at some strange-looking weeds. Those weeds were marijuana plants. 900 of them to be exact. And now they're trying to figure out just who planted them. Now, as for George, we hear he's wearing sunglasses and now saying, "Hey, baby, what's happening?" to every good-looking cow he meets.
Sounds like our producer.
It does sound like our producer, doesn't it? Well, what's happening in weather?
Tomorrow morning, believe it or not, we'll see the sunshine for the first time in a while and a temperature of 60 degrees. Put that in your sarcophagus and smoke it.
Sounds terrific. Thank you for watching tonight. Next is Johnny Carson. For all of us, good night. Oh, how we love to celebrate our nation's birthday with a bang, a boom, and a pop. Now, if you want to have your own celebration, this is about the only legal way you can do it. But even these sparklers can be dangerous if they're not handled properly. But there are other more dangerous items in the celebrator's arsenal, and they're illegal. Like M80's, bottle rockets, Roman candles, and quarter sticks. Now, you won't find these in a store, but you can find them. All of this stuff was bought on the black market and confiscated by local police. It's almost become an annual rite of summer. This is called a quarter stick. It equals about a quarter of a stick of dynamite. Now, it doesn't come with any directions, but they seem rather obvious. Set it down, light it, and then run like heck. Now, if that had gone off in my hand, I'd be looking for my fingers right now. Dr. Michael Rakulevich has seen more than just missing fingers.
And severe burns, blindness could result. There's been many cases of this reported. From throwing the firecrackers, cherry bombs, whatever. If you get them too close to your ear, they can explode, cause severe hearing loss, hearing damage. I've mentioned eye injuries. Obviously, eye injuries could be severe.
Not only are fireworks dangerous, they're illegal. And if you get caught, you'll have to pay either a $100 fine or spend 90 days in jail. And depending on the judge, you may have to do both. Now, if you don't want to end up headlining our news, stick to the sparklers and leave the bombs bursting in air to the pros. And have a happy and safe 4th of July. This is Diane Ryan for Eyewitness News. Welcome to the McAdoo Zoo. Folks on Keeley Street have never seen this much excitement. All the fuss is over a bunch of bears, a mama and her 4 cubs to be exact. They just sort of wandered into Joe Fogarty's backyard late last night and decided to stay. And since nobody knew how to get bears out, since nobody ever had a bear in their backyard, they called on the state game commissioners. The game plan the commissioners had was to tranquilize the bears as a way of getting them out of their newfound home. But the bears are kind of high up there, and the commissioners were afraid that if they fell, they might hurt themselves. Better just to wait. Hopefully, they'll leave on their own. But that's what they've been doing all day, waiting. One took off on his own, but 11 hours later, the commissioners just couldn't wait any longer for the others to leave. The crowds were getting bigger, and the bears were getting comfortable. So, up drives the hook and ladder truck. They decided to hose them out. Some folks protested, but a path was cleared and the water was turned on. First down, a cub. He took one look at us and decided he was better off in a tree. Next, Mama and her baby. They headed straight for the woods. The last one down decided to join his brother, sitting right up there in the neighbor's tree. And Joe, well, Joe was watching all of this from the safety of a neighbor's house.
I'm afraid of them. I respect them. I know what she can do if she gets loose and people get between her and her cubs.
Is it nice to have your yard back now?
Huh? I put my dog back and...
Things back to normal.
Right.
Police tell me that on the streets of Scranton, he's known as the man who can get you drugs and sex for a price. And for years, they say they've never had enough evidence to touch him. Tonight, they think they do. They brought James Chimesy Williams in and booked him for selling drugs. Chimesy, what's this all about?
I wish I knew.
Chimesy was caught selling cocaine and charged with 5 separate counts of drug sales and 1 count of conspiring to sell drugs.
Williams, in a conspiracy with others, sold a substantial amount of cocaine costing over $2,000 to undercover agents of the Pennsylvania State Police Region 8 Drug Strike Force.
State troopers and Scranton City Police worked together to put James Chimesy Williams behind bars tonight. And they say they have enough evidence that if Chimesy is found guilty, he's going to stay there for a while. A long while. Lackawanna County DA Priate says if Chimesy is found guilty, he could spend 25 years in jail and may have to pay more than $60,000 in fines. He went before Magistrate Hart tonight, who set bail but wouldn't release him because he's already in jail on federal charges. He'll go before Hart again on Thursday for a hearing. Tonight, he's in the county lockup. Priate says if Chimesy's convicted, it'll put a big dent in drug dealing in Scranton.